FTL Multiverse heavily expands the amount of playable crew, enough so that it can be overwhelming to figure out how they work. But that variety brings forth opportunity, and the crew both new and returning have quite a few worthwhile talents. This video covers all the standard crew you can find in Multiverse, and some of their use cases. If they're elites, part of questlines, unique characters, or otherwise unavailable from shops, they won't be covered here. No matter how much I want to talk more about morphs, you're not seeing them on most runs, and this video is getting too long anyway. This isn't a tier list. There are certainly crew I prefer, but that doesn't tell you what to do when someone walks onto your ship. And FTL's bread and butter is about making decisions with what you're offered. Lab upgrades affect all crew of a given species. If you have Hive Mantis and Free Mantis in your crew, buying selective killing in the lab will make them both boarding monsters. There will be a tier list at the end. I lied to you. Its criteria are arbitrary and will be described when we get there. Once again, I'm Extra Shoddy. Welcome back to FTL Multiverse. Humans. Boring and uninteresting. They repair fine, and they fight fine. The baseline against which all are measured. Humans rarely excel at a task, but can manage most jobs on a ship just fine. They have slight hazard resistance, so they're your first choice at repairing burning rooms or breaches, provided you don't have specialized crew for that task. Human Engineer. Jiffy Lube's Employee of the Month. They have slightly improved repair speeds over other humans, but are otherwise similar. In case you needed an NG, but couldn't afford the union rates. Human Medic. The first crew we're covering with an active ability. Active abilities can be used next to their respective crew's status on the left side of the screen, right here. Medics only deal half damage during combat, but they slowly heal outside of it, and can restore 50 HP to all allied crewmates within the room with the use of their active ability. Medics are really interesting. They're not good at fighting crew, but they're amazing at prolonging fights. They're great teammates for stronger fighters or crew with interesting boarding abilities, like shells or leeches. Potentially strong boarders, but somewhat frail. NG. The regional manager of Jiffy Lube. NG repair twice as fast, but deal half damage during combat. They have slightly less HP than in base FTL. If you need to repair important systems in the middle of a fight, then you'll always be glad to have an NG around. Even if they're poor fighters, they can still have an important role to play in combat, acting as body blockers. The onboard lab upgrade environmental adaptations give NG suffocation immunity, making them excellent crew for repairing breaches. Separatist NG. NG that have broken free from their hive mind. They're slightly better at fighting and slightly worse at repairing than standard NG, and their active ability switches them to nanite mode. Nanite mode gives them mind control and hazard immunity, reduces damage taken in combat, but removes their ability to fight, repair, and heal. Separatist NG are some of my favorite crew in early Multiverse. Nanite mode makes them excellent at delaying boarding crew and your own mind-controlled crewmates, and you can preemptively use nanite mode to pass through locked doors and unmorph inside, giving you the ability to defend or repair hacked systems. Zoltan, the walking battery. The Zoltan provide 1 power to any system they occupy. They also deal minor damage to enemy crew upon their death. Zoltan are ideal for manning systems that require power, such as your engines, weapons, or shields. Any power provided by Zoltans or other powered crewmates cannot be removed by ions, so having 2 powered crewmates in your shields will keep at least 1 layer intact. This can be achieved with a single Zoltan via the lab upgrade overclocking, but this lowers their max HP to uncomfortably low levels. Duskbringer Devotees. Bringing assault to battery. Duskbringers can teleport anywhere within a ship and provide power to any room they occupy, like standard Zoltan. The active ability of a Duskbringer will start a short countdown in the room, about 2.5 seconds, that kills them and deals damage to all crew within the room, friend or foe. If you don't have a cloning bay, they're gone for good. Power used in systems with a cooldown is typically locked within that system until the cooldown expires. Placing a powered crewmate in the room while the cooldown is active replaces that power, and frees it from the system once they leave. Duskbringers can move between distant rooms easily, letting you free up power from used mind control, hacking, cloaking, or teleporter systems. Keep in mind that enemy mind control can activate a Duskbringer's self-destruct if they reach low enough health, so tread lightly if your Duskbringer is mind controlled. If this happens, try to keep them above 40 health or so. Zoltan Monks. Monks who embody pacifism. Monks cannot fight or sabotage systems, and their active ability stuns all other crew within the room for 10 seconds. This makes them good at occupying enemy borders or your own mind-controlled crew. Since monks cannot fight, they can repair systems occupied by enemy crew. This makes them excellent support crew against boarding drones, as they can repair breaches produced by their entry while your other crew fight them off. Mantis. Fighting is fun. The musical. Mantis deal 1.5 times as much damage in crew combat and move slightly faster, but repair systems at half speed. Mantis are the gold standard for crew combat in base FTL, and Multiverse hasn't changed this too much. The lab upgrade Selective Killing gives a substantial bonus to Mantis in hand-to-hand combat, so take this upgrade ASAP if you intend to use primarily Mantis for your boarding parties. Free Mantis, fugitive Mantis who use synthetic pheromones to cope with life. They share the movement bonus and have repair speed with Hive Mantis, but have slightly worse combat stats. Their active ability drastically increases their movement speed and combat power for a short period of time. Free Mantis can deal more damage in quick bursts than their standard counterparts. Their active ability lets them move very quickly, letting them enter fights against boarding parties as soon as they occur. Slugs. Telepathic scumbags. Slugs have nearly identical stats to humans, but are immune to mind control and can see both adjacent rooms and the crew on enemy ships. Immunity to mind control makes slugs ideal operators for systems you always want manned, such as piloting or door control. If you don't need their ability to sense crew, the lab upgrade Neural Redirection gives them a notable boost in combat, sabotage, and repair speed while retaining their mind-controlled immunity. Slug Clansmen. Racist telepathic scumbags. Clansmen take slightly reduced combat damage, but move slower as well. Their active ability deals damage to all crew in the room, friend or foe, and temporarily cloaks them, making them unable to be attacked. Clansmen are better at fighting than their standard counterpart, but their active ability makes them difficult to utilize on boarding parties. They work best as defense against boarding crews, where you can freely move your crew out of the room before firing their bomb. Slug Hector employees. Capitalist telepathic scumbags. In addition to the standard slug characteristics, when Hector employees fall below 20 health, they enter a cardboard box, reducing the damage they take by 90%, but losing their ability to do anything but move until they're healed above half health. Hector slugs are surprisingly tanky. Once they hit 20 health, they effectively have 10 times as much health for crew combat, making them excellent at delaying boarding parties. However, they're just as vulnerable to weapons, suffocation, burning damage, and active crew abilities, so keep an eye on their surroundings before sending them into a fight. Rockmen. Rockmen are very tanky and very slow. They have lots of health and don't take fire damage, but move at half speed. Rockmen's increased health pool makes them ideal for risky boarding situations, at least when you don't have specialized crew. Their health pool allows them to survive fairly dangerous situations for a bit longer, but that doesn't mean they're guaranteed to win every fight. Rockmen Outcasts. Rockmen from the streets have slightly less health than standard Rockmen, but are stronger in combat when fighting with other outcasts or against other Rockmen. Outcasts work best as boarding teams with other outcasts, giving them good damage to complement their high health. Their health can be further improved with the lab upgrade Obsidian Skin, giving them well over 200 health. Lost Sun Commandos. Pyromania given form and purpose. Lost Sun Commandos' active ability can start fires on command, damaging systems and other crew over time. However, this ability has limited charges and recovers 1 per jump. Due to the nature of crew combat, most crew cannot put out fires started by Lost Suns while fighting them, with the exception of repair drones. This makes them excellent at gradually breaking systems during combat, especially with other Rockmen. Lanius. Lanius are immune to suffocation, but drain oxygen from any room they occupy. Lanius work well as versatile boarding crew, complementing other anaerobic crew for breaking systems on automated ships, or passively damaging enemy crew while fighting them. Crystals, the original secret of FTL. Crystals possess slightly increased health, halved suffocation damage, but slightly reduced crew damage. Their active ability locks the current room for about 12 seconds, preventing crew from entering or exiting. This ability now costs a small amount of health and has limited charges. Crystal makes surprisingly good boarding partners with Lanius. The lab upgrade Crystallized Hydrogen makes them immune to suffocation, and with their active ability, they can also prevent enemy crew from escaping the room or entering, trapping them inside rooms without any oxygen. Crystal Liberators. Crystals specializing in locking down rooms. Liberators have increased health compared to their standard variant, but deal half damage in combat. Their active ability locks down rooms, and all allied crew within the room gain hazard resistance, and improved repair and sabotage speed. Liberators are excellent at specialized boarding, such as locking down rooms to quickly damage systems before enemy crew can enter. Their lockdown also works for quickly and relatively safely repairing breaches and fires. Orchids. Plant-based piloting. Orchids refill oxygen on your ship, take slightly less damage from suffocation, and give a slight health, healing, and repair speed bonus to any friendly crew in the room. However, they also take increased damage from fire. Orchids supply about the same amount of oxygen as a life support system. You can provide all the oxygen needed on your ship with a single Orchid, provided you leave your internal doors open. Just remember to close the doors again if you're boarded. Orchid Caretakers. Practitioners of something called extreme breathing techniques. Caretakers have reduced health compared to standard Orchids, but have complete suffocation immunity, and extend this immunity to crew in the same room. Caretakers enable the survival of air-breathing crew on ships without oxygen systems, making them vital for certain team compositions. They also enable boarding and operating of systems on anaerobic ships with these crewmates, making them very versatile, albeit fragile. Vampweeds. Small businessmen from the Little Shop of Horrors. Vampweeds share the reduced suffocation damage and fire vulnerability of Orchids, but reduce the health and movement speed of enemy crew instead of buffing your own. Debuffs supplied by Vampweeds stack for every Vampweed in the room, making boarding parties with multiple Vampweeds extremely dangerous. Leeches. Bottom feeders. In every sense of the word. Leeches have reduced health, but drain 1 power from enemy systems while occupying that room. They regenerate health quickly when outside of combat, but are stunned longer than other crew. Leeches are powerful hit-and-run boarding crew, and benefit from quickly fighting a crew while disabling a system, then running away. The lab augment burrows lets them ignore doors and move even faster, enabling a strategy best known as BHB, or Benny Hill boarding. Ghosts. Flatulence-based phantoms. They take neither suffocation nor burn damage, but have reduced health. They can ignore doors and sabotage systems at incredible speeds. Ghosts are excellent handyman and sabotage-focused boarders. Using them alongside Crystal Crew allows you to trap enemy crew within a room, then leave that room to sabotage other systems. The current lab upgrade, Non-Corporealism, reduces damage taken from combat and allows them to outright ignore enemy crew, breaking systems in record time. Ghouls, mares, and wraiths. Ghosts with poor choices in diet. Ghouls, mares, and wraiths ignite fires, open breaches, or cause ion damage in their occupied room respectively. This occurs periodically and automatically, but only if they are below max health. The ghost variants have slightly worse sabotage speed, but can cause additional chaos during boarding attempts. You can control these effects with the lab upgrade Vagabond Stabilizer, letting you choose when they occur. Shells. Scientific scumbags. Shells take slightly reduced damage in combat, but double damage from suffocation. Their active ability costs 50 health, deals damage to enemy crew and systems, but slowly regenerates their health over the next 26 seconds. Shell explosions deal damage to enemy systems, but temporarily lower their health, making them good at quick hit-and-run boarding situations. Their onboard lab, Dextile Shells, lets them move and heal faster, including the healing from their active ability. This gives them more longevity than you might expect. Shell Scientists. Scientific scumbags with higher education. Shell Scientists have identical stats to their standard counterparts, but their active ability fully heals nearby crew, and regenerates more quickly than standard shells. Scientists work similarly to medics, and can potentially heal even more, but optimizing this heal is somewhat risky. They're easier to use as healing support on ships without a medbay, as they can heal more than what they expend with their ability. Shell Mechanics. Scientist scumbags who went to trade school. Mechanics' active ability deals damage to themselves, but fully repairs any system they occupy. Mechanics are an excellent panic button if key systems become damaged during a fight. However, it may be wiser to have them manning less integral systems, as damage to a room usually involves damage to the crew inside it as well. Shell Guardians. Guardians take even less damage from combat than standard shells, and their active ability deals additional damage to crew and systems. However, instead of healing, Guardians take significantly less damage from all sources for about 15 seconds. Guardians can deal significant damage to enemy systems, but take significant risks in the process. They pair well with Orchids and Medics. We haven't really talked about it yet, but I feel like there's an elephant in the room when it comes to Multiverse's active abilities. Did you notice that a solid 2/3 of them are effectively a nasty fart?
That's Wario, Snake. He also attacks by farting. Farting.
Hey, that's Luigi.
Lost Suns are explosives, shells take damage from their own flatulence, and ghost variants can't hold it in, even to be polite. I don't know what I'm trying to say with this. If you're ever curious about how medics do their magic, don't think too hard. Welcome one and all to the Multiverse Crew tier list. I'm afraid I've lied to you once again. I have two. One for operators and one for boarding crew. Not every ship has a teleporter, and you should expect your crew to spend most of their time on your ship at some point. Operators. Crew that fulfill a lot of different roles or offer meaningful utility rarely feel out of place on a ship. Engie, Zoltan, and Orchid sit at the top, giving a lot of great options with respect to repairs, power, and so on and so forth. Rox and Mantis really suffer as operators, since their flaws prevent them from repairing quickly and efficiently. Ghost variants are just a bit obnoxious, especially on cloning ships, since they can't suffocate and thus refresh themselves in the clone bay, meaning that they're stuck below maximum health, and will continue to activate their ability and wreck your own systems. Boarders. I like my good old-fashioned boarding crew. Hit hard, hit fast, and either destroy all their crew or wreck their key systems. But there's a lot of versatility in boarding that's new to Multiverse. Lost Suns can deal damage to crew and systems at the same time, good micro with leeches can shut down multiple systems while they're on the enemy ship, and Lanius can use their oxygen draining to deal extra damage as well. The rating for Orchid caretakers is a little unfair, as they can enable most species to jump into AI cruisers and not worry about suffocation while tearing everything apart. Otherwise, they're just a bit too fragile. The crewmates you find can define your ship, and your ship defines your run. As a result, they're worth understanding and utilizing just as much as your weapons, drones, or other systems. Whether you need mechanics, fighters, or just a body with a pulse, getting the most out of your crew will make your chances of getting through Multiverse that much better. Thanks for watching. I'm planning a follow-up with the Elite and Secret crew, and if the interest is still there, I may make one for the unique crewmates as well. Let me know what crew compositions you've cooked up in the comments below. I'll see you some other time. Stay classy.
Colonel! Colonel!